So two things I want to do with you today. The first one is to update you on our progress in the region. So let me start right now. The first one is, if you look at today PayPal footprint, okay, the key takeaway is PayPal is all about growth. We are a growth company. We are blessed to be in a business that is still growing between 20 and 30% year on year. Yet, when we look at all the opportunities around the world, we are looking for new markets and new growth areas. And when you look today already where most of the revenues, let alone the profits, right, are coming from, it's already a company that makes most of our revenues outside of the US. So that's the very, very important point for us. And the second thing is, of course, we look at all the trends. Where are new online buyers, online shoppers coming from? And here, especially, in MENA, we do see, a huge opportunity. It's already a $15 billion e-commerce market growing around 30% year on year. But for us, the importance of this region is still, we are just at the beginning. A lot of people here are used, to buying online, cross-border. We believe there's an even bigger opportunity, domestic, but also using mobile and bringing together offline and online. So the first thing we do, our strategy is very simple. The first thing we do is, we bridge the gaps in our, payment network. And the first thing is enabling new markets, enabling consumers in new markets to use PayPal. So last year, we launched our service in Egypt, which is a key market. And the results have been astonishing, truly. It's really incredible to see, when you switch a service like PayPal for a new market like Egypt, first seeing, the very positive response, from consumers, and then seeing the volume skyrocketing. But that's the very, very first step for us. Then, once we've done that, we want to become more and more local. The second thing is, of course, we want to develop our presence with merchants. Here are some of the key merchants that are using PayPal now to generate incremental sales, because PayPal is all about, bringing new sales and new consumers. And you start seeing not just big global brands, Etihad, Qatar Airways, but also very regional players, right? And I think this is very, very important as we move forward to become even more local as a payment solution. The third thing is to get closer to our partners, banking partners, in that matter. And here you see something that, well, we announced over the past few months. Our team on the ground, have been very active. These are some very innovative partnerships that we've struck with leading banks here in the region. So you see here QNB, you see also the Cairo Amman Bank in Jordan. This is very, very innovative because PayPal is completely plugged, integrated into online banking services. So, a lot of people always come to me and say, do you compete with the banks? Are you friend or foe, etc.? I think here, this is the true example on how we can work together. Because by being present in online banking services, we just enable more transactions happening online. The last one, which is very, very important to me and to the team, is to become truly local. And becoming local, what does it mean? Well, it means first, speaking the language, of course. It means also having customer support that can truly serve, customers in their language, and how you localize the whole experience. But actually here, the point I want to make is, when we look at this region, especially in the Gulf, we see the penetration of mobile. We see the usage of mobile. So actually, the decision we made is, instead of doing what we've done over the past years, you go into a market, then you localize the website, then you have customer support, etc. Here we've decided to go directly to mobile. So we will be launching very soon, it's just a matter of a few weeks now, our first mobile application in Arabic. So we've decided to completely change the playbook and directly leapfrog ourselves in our development. And I think this is also, for us, very important in this region is we don't think, that we need to follow the classic playbook. We can accelerate it. And that's basically, a transition to my second part, which is what are the trends we see around the world and how we can make sense of that here in your market. So the commerce revolution, the first thing is the way we used to think about, our addressable market, and I've been at PayPal for 9 years now, we are just focusing, on online commerce, right? And that's already 1 trillion addressable market, pretty big. But the reality is actually the market we're serving is much bigger than that. It's not just e-commerce, it's the total commerce market that we're serving. And I think what we've seen is that the frontier between online and offline does not make sense anymore. I think this one has completely disappeared. For 2 reasons. The first one is new devices. So, I've got with me my iPad, I've got, my phone. These devices have changed the way consumers interact with your brands, with your products. These, devices, you can see from the chart here, are part of our daily life, okay? So they have changed the way consumers interact with you. And what it means is basically this commerce revolution is not driven by retailers, actually. It's driven by the consumer. So, not so long ago, the whole discussion was about showrooming, right? So I was spending my time, with big retailers who were still arguing, do I need to set up a separate online division? Do I need to have a separate warehouse? Oh my God, I've got all these shops, I've got all these shopping malls. Try to imagine here, especially in Dubai, right? All these shopping malls, people come to the shop and then they take their phone and they buy online. We are going to be out of business. The reality is, what we've seen is online and offline are not 2 separate things at all. We've got plenty of studies that show and prove that online presence actually generate incremental sales for offline retailers. That's the first thing, except maybe music, for sure. The second thing we've seen is, if you're scared about showrooming, well, the good news is that the biggest trend is reverse showrooming, which actually is not that new. The thing is, what we've seen, especially again with these new devices, is consumers are pretty savvy enough now to be connecting online all the time, to research, to get, opinions about products, to get the best prices, etc., and then go to the shop to make the final purchase. And what it means, this is a very, very recent study that was done, is, yes, half, more or less, of the people do showrooming. But it's even, higher of people who do reverse showrooming, okay? So what it means is practically you have new experience. If you're traditional retailers, you need to invest in click and collect, because that's the biggest trend we've seen over the last 3 years. People buy online, but then they go to the shop to pick up, their item, okay? The second thing is, you look here on the image, on purpose we've put Pinterest. Pinterest did not exist just 3 years ago, right? Now it's one of the massive, generation of sales leads on the offline world. People, check Pinterest lists, see products, and then go and decide to buy it at the shop. The last point is, this is already happening, and we're all trying to adapt to that. What it means for the retailers, and for us, especially in payments, is we need to come up with new experiences. And it's not just about payments. So here I just, I have 2 examples of what these new payment experiences are. The first one on the left is the PayPal app. So I've got it here, so if you want to meet after the talk, on my phone here, I've got my PayPal app, okay? I can open the app, I can look around, the shop that accept PayPal as a payment mean. Actually, there's one in Dubai, which is great, okay? And I can then enter the shop, just check in, and then I can start buying, and the payment will be seamless. I don't even need to go to the cashier, I don't need to go to the till, I don't need to show even my credit card. The payment will be taken care of. What does it mean? It means for the retailers, they can start, sharing data with us. They can start offering, loyalty. They can start offering coupons. they can start knowing who is that person entering my shop, who is probably, maybe one of my biggest customers, but there's no way for me to know it. Well, here you can know and you can tailor the experience. And it can free up, time from the sales assistant to actually go around with this type of device and really personalize the experience. The technology is there. The services are there. On the right, this is the last iteration of that. This is the beacon, right? What it is, it's a little piece of hardware. What you need is just, a plug. You plug it in, right? And then using Bluetooth, low energy, what it means is when I enter the shop, then I don't even need, to check in. The beacon will immediately, automatically trigger the app and create, this connection. This is very, very important because then it creates a completely new relationship between the retailer and the consumer. It bridges to, completely, the online and offline world. And it enables, to create new experiences. This is, for instance, something that we did in New York, I think it was 6 months ago. You take a big brand like Kate Spade, you take a space, which in this case is a shopping window. You have 500,000 people, going in front of it. 500,000 people just walk down the street, go in front of the window, and there, what can they do? They can look, at the different products, they can take their phone, and they can start buying it. So just last night, I was at the Dubai Mall at 10:30. Well, the shops were closing. There is no reason now that these shops should be closing. You don't need a sales assistant. I can just be in front of the window and use my mobile phone and start buying, for instance, or start interacting, with the products. And these are all the experiences that at the moment we are creating with retailers. My thinking on that is, when it comes to mobile, that's true especially here. There is no need to wait 2, 3, 4 years, for the technology adoption. The adoption is already here. You have the mobile penetration, you have the users. In Dubai, you have all the best shopping experience, in the world. So I think for us, for PayPal, this would be the best market actually to leapfrog, all the other markets that we have and actually make of, especially, the Gulf, the biggest showcase of mobile commerce. So we're starting to work on this with retailers. So the last point is, we try to bring all of this together, and we believe we have a unique set of assets. The first one is, of course, the wallet that we've built over the years. So now we're starting to have a pretty significant critical mass of users, 150 million. In this region, it's 500,000 active users. When I say active, it's truly people really engaged, buying cross-border, etc. So that's very, very valuable. The second thing is the relationship we have with the consumers and the data. Because as I said, it's not about enabling the transaction, it's about knowing who you are, what you do, and sharing it to create something really personalized. The last thing would be, of course, how you manage risk, because that's one of the core competencies, of any payments company, is you can create all the experience you want. If you are not able to manage risk when it comes to retail, then you're just opening up yourself, to a big failure. So we think, by managing all these core assets, especially in this region, we can start accelerating our growth, becoming more local, but also, bringing to the market mobile commerce. That's it for me. Happy to take your questions now. Thank you.